We've been floating this country on credit for centuries, yo. And we're done watching and waiting while this invention called whiteness uses and abuses us, burying black people out of sight and out of mind while extracting our culture, our dollars, our entertainment like oil, black gold, ghettoizing and demeaning our creations, then stealing them, gentrifying our genius, and then trying us on like costumes before discarding our bodies like rinds of strange fruit. The thing is that just because we're magic doesn't mean we're not real. Thank you.
Poetic and powerful. The speech went viral. Let's talk about what stood out for everybody here. Charles, I'll start with you. What stood out for you about Jesse Williams' acceptance speech?
Other than like him just like, creating, carving out a new piece of history and actually really showing people, I think, what you can do with a platform is it was remarkable, the space he took, the time he took. It was a poem. It was an incredible poem that he dropped. And I loved, just specifically because what's going on and, personal connections is of his description off the top about, police disarming and de-escalating situations with white folk and basically really just letting the folks know that equal rights and justice is going to be had or we're going to restructure the way it works in our own communities. That was beautiful to me. It was beautiful when he talked about specifically just if you're going to have a critique about the resistance, then you better have a real record of the oppression.
Critiquing the
oppression.
Yeah.
That so I think it was remarkable those specific. I mean, there's so many. I mean, it was remarkable.
Well, let's go around. Amanda, was there a moment that stood out for you in particular?
The whole thing. I mean, he dropped bars. He dropped more bars than most rappers that performed that night. Actually, than any rapper that performed that night. I'm just going to put it out there like that. I thought it was, I think there was so much poetry in it. There were so many things that he said, but I thought one of the most interesting things was not just the relationship the viewers from home were having watching it, but also the people in the room and how he called out the people in the room and said, hey, I'm talking to you. Like, we have put this thing on a pedestal called making money, this capitalist thing, and we have put all of these brands on a pedestal, and that is our goal. But we were branded once to make money, and now we're putting brands on our bodies. And it was a call out. It was a call out to the crowd, and you could feel how uncomfortable people were in that room being called out in that way. Because right after that, somebody went on stage and rapped about making money. You know what I mean? Like, how foolish do you feel right now? And also, I thought it was beautiful the way that he began by acknowledging his parents in the room. His mother is white, his father is black, and he credited them with providing him with the comprehension to be able to give this type of articulate, eloquent, and well thought out critique, which was a revelation in and of itself. You can critique whiteness without demonizing and you can critique whiteness without making it about white people. His white mother has helped him to get to this place where he can have this critical analysis on race and be able to identify his blackness and his politics in a way that is strong, that is powerful, that is well-researched, and that is articulate and poetic. And so for him to acknowledge that, for the camera to show the pride in their eyes, I thought it was such a powerful reminder that this system of oppression is bigger than white people, black people. It's about whiteness and blackness, and that is historic, that is systemic, and that is embedded in the very infrastructures that we live within all the time. So I think his relationship to what he was saying to everybody else in the room was particularly powerful as a viewer watching from home.
Well said. Rachel, what stood out for you?
I mean, I'd echo all of that because I think just in a matter of a few moments, he touched on, white supremacy, police brutality, gender relations, Black creative output and appropriation. He talked about education, it was just so, rich and beautiful. And I think often, like at sort of award ceremonies and those kind of events, often the kind of celebrity engagement with activism can feel somewhat shallow or tokenistic. And this felt sort of, rich and so powerful and potent at a night when there was also, Janelle Monáe's tribute to Prince and Beyonce's performance of Freedom. And so it felt like there just was this it just felt like it was kind of the perfect. I mean, he was winning for the humanitarian award, and so it felt like it was just this kind of perfect galvanizing moment. And someone, I think it was Jesse Wente on Metro Morning, which is the morning show here in Toronto, talked about with the passing of Muhammad Ali. I think also having a black celebrity sort of taking on the activist voice in such a powerful way also felt like a very moving moment too.
And doing it with swag, like he chewed gum throughout the whole thing,
Totally,
and
right?
like was just like had this like stature to him.
Yeah.
Like he was able to code switch throughout the whole
Yeah.
thing, and not only like bring the academic talk, but also bring the street talk. Like he did it with like a lot of attitude, which is totally a credit. Like thinking about Muhammad Ali, he would always do it with style, always do it with pizzazz. So,
It just felt it. Yeah, it felt like as Amanda said, like a critique and a call to arms. Like it felt like it just hit every possible. Like I think it's rare that you get to see something like that feels kind of perfect, basically, like just landing perfectly, and kind of I think what people needed at that moment. Like just sort of it just was like this lovely kind of historical thing.
Especially when it comes to celebrity activism, to do it perfectly is
Is
no
really
easy
tricky.
task.
It's really tricky.
No easy task. Really quickly, Amanda, what impact do you think his call to action will have? As you said, in the very next moment, almost, we had someone up on stage rapping about making money. Long term, do you see this speech having an impact?
I think we live in a time where it's really hard for any particular moment to have long-term impact, but I think he created a historical moment that people can refer to. I think the really amazing thing about it is that Jesse Williams doesn't live by just this moment. Like there is a record of his activism and his action that can back up all of the words that he stated. So there was like a Twitter thread by someone who talked about all the work that he's been doing on behind the scenes without any media knowing, calling lawyers, helping to defend all of these activists that get targeted by the police, helping to mobilize particular segments of the society that wouldn't necessarily normally align themselves with social justice movements, really utilizing his platform in important and ways that speak to his integrity so that he's not just speaking about this as a message. So I think what's going to stick with us is not just the words, but the fact that he has a history of action that backs up those words. And to him, it seems like acting is sort of like the part-time gig. Activism is the full-time, and he's utilizing the platform that he gets as a celebrity to really push that activism forward.